Hey everyone, Ronnie Chavez here at Ninja Quest Fitness near Atlanta, Georgia, and today I'm going to be showing you how I film POV parkour videos. Now I've gotten a bunch of comments on how I do it. There's a few different ways to do it, so I'm going to first show you my method and then maybe a couple other alternatives from the way other people do it. So first off, I use a GoPro, which is the main camera most people use for POV parkour videos. One of the main reasons why is because of its small form factor and its lightweight and durability, because you never know where it's going to end up when you're filming POV stuff. There's a few different ways you can do it, but the main way I like to do it is I actually have this case that isn't sealed off like the waterproof one it comes with. The reason I got this one is so that it can still pick up audio pretty well, because it doesn't have that case covering it. But either one will work if you're only focused on getting the POV shot, but if you're also concerned about the audio, then I'd also consider getting an open face mount for the GoPro so that it's easy to pick up audio. And this one is also a quick release one so that it's easy to pop in and out to change the batteries. Now the mount I have on the GoPro is what's going to really help me hold the GoPro in place. Now there's obviously a few different ways to mount the GoPro onto your body. There's the chest mount, the head mount, and what I use is the mouth mount. Now I actually have a simplified mouth mount. This is actually a clip that came with my GoPro, used to just clip onto surfaces, and then I use some sticky pads to stick on it for my teeth. They do make mouth guard mouth mounts, so it's a lot easier to hold in your mouth, but for me this works just fine and I didn't have to pay extra to get an actual mouth mount. Now why use a mouth mount and not the head mount or chest mount? The main reason is parkour is very shaky and all over the place if anything's on your body. So let's take your chest for example. All the movement that's happening here is going to be seen on camera. Your jumps up and down is going to be very shaky, and there might even be a little bit of shifting on the mount itself, moving around, and it's overall just going to be a very messy POV video. The head mount is a better option because your head on your neck acts as a natural stabilizer, where it's going to make the footage a little bit more stable than it would be on your chest, but once again on your head you have the problem of the actual mount shifting around itself, being a little bit shaky, and it's also going to be really high up, which will just make the perspective looking at your body a little bit different. And so the mouth mount, what this allows you to do is to lock the GoPro into your jaw, into your teeth basically, so your literal skull is what's holding it in place. So as long as you're biting down and holding it firmly, there's not going to be any shake or shifting around, and once again you have that head stabilization and mobility, and you can also control the direction that you're looking, which is going to be very important for filming POV parkour videos while you have it in your mouth. Because if it's on your chest, it's only pointed one direction the whole time. There's no options for looking around as your body's moving in one direction. It's always whatever way your body's facing, that's what it's gonna see. Now some things to keep in mind when actually using the mouth mount, because it is a little bit more dangerous to have it there because it's in your teeth, and if you knock it on a hard surface, that's not gonna be good for your teeth. So you wanna make sure that whatever line you're doing, that you have it locked down. You're very comfortable with it. You're not doing anything crazy for the first time with the mouth mount. You wanna make sure you have gotten it in your muscle memory before you do it. And then once you are performing it, you also want to be aware of what your vision is like, because for example, even though this is in my mouth, there will still be a slight blind spot just where my feet are. And so you want to be a little bit aware of that, so you know that you're not going to see a certain spot of your field of vision because of where the GoPro is. So that will make it more challenging for certain things, but it's something you end up just getting used to through practice and getting familiar with it. Also for safety reasons, I have this strap attached to the mount so that I can actually keep it around my neck, so when I'm planning or setting things up, I don't have to worry about where I place it or holding it or in a weird way. I just have it right here so that I can, while I'm doing my run, breathing so hard, that's another thing to point out, is it's a little bit harder to breathe when you have something in your mouth, is that I can just pop it out and just let it rest there for a minute. And if I am doing something crazy somewhere high up and something happens where the GoPro falls out of my mouth, I'm not going to lose it and it's not going to break because I have it attached to me, so it's safely secured right there. So now let's talk about the GoPro settings. So I personally like to use the widest setting possible when filming POV, and the reason why is because your natural perspective when you're just looking at things, you have a really wide peripheral of everything you can see. And so I like to make that really wide so that it kind of recreates what it's actually like to be the parkour athlete, seeing the world in front of you as you run and jump over obstacles. The other thing it helps with is being able to see your body at the same time while also seeing the objects in front of you. If you have a really narrow field of view setting on your GoPro, then it's going to be much harder to see what your body is doing and at the same time see the direction you're going and the obstacles in front of you. I also like to film in 60 frames per second if possible, because of the potential shakiness of doing a POV video. 60 frames per second just makes the action look a lot smoother and also allows you to do slow motion if you want to slow down certain moments in your video. Now that you know the setup and you're ready to start filming and start experimenting with your GoPro setup, you want to be aware of what the route is you're doing. Maybe you're just primarily doing a stride precision jump line, and so ideally you're just going to want to be able to see your feet hitting each of those precision jumps. Because if you're just looking straight ahead and can't see your feet, then no one's going to be able to tell what you're doing and how technical the moves are that you're doing. I like to angle the camera so that it can best capture what I'm doing. So if I'm doing precision jumps, I'm going to have it slightly angled down, not all the way facing down where my whole body's going to be in view, but just enough so that it can see exactly what my feet and legs are doing. If my shot is primarily scaling a wall or climbing a pipe or something like that, then I might want to angle it up slightly so that it can capture my arms climbing the wall and the pipe and not just be looking straight at the wall and not know what's going on. If you're doing a combination of going up or looking down, then maybe it's best to center your camera kind of in the middle and then just use your head to make sure you angle it in the direction where the attention should be during that move. So this becomes a secondary skill to your parkour skill, is you're actually becoming a cinematographer while you do parkour. You want to be aware of the movement you're doing, where it's important to bring the attention during that movement, and then you're going to angle your head, even if you normally wouldn't look there doing parkour this way. If you angle your head to capture that moment, it's going to be much more enjoyable for the people watching it. In this example, I'm tic-tacking off the wall to precision, and if my head isn't looking directly at where my foot is planting on the wall for the tic-tac, you almost miss that I even did the tic-tac. It might just look like I did the jump. So just make sure you're constantly aware of what you're doing, where the camera should be looking, and remember, where your eye's looking doesn't mean the camera's going to see it. So you got to make sure that you're facing towards whatever you want the camera to be looking at, and then just constantly be aware of it, and then be sure to do playback and experiment with it so you can see what the different camera angles look like, what it looks like with your head doing parkour facing different directions. You can just experiment and find out what works best for the shot you're trying to capture. Now there's a couple other tutorials out there on different ways if you don't have the same options for doing a mouth mount. For example, Jason Paul demonstrated that he actually sometimes does it by sticking the whole GoPro in his mouth and doing it. Now I wouldn't recommend that method because that sounds kind of dangerous. Maybe mess up your jaws if you land weird or something, and I don't even know if I can fit the GoPro in my mouth to do that. That's an option, but once again, I don't think I would ever do it that way because that's extremely uncomfortable and it barely fits in my jaws. But if you have a huge gaping mouth, then I guess that's something you can attempt. Jesse LaFleur, I believe, did a tutorial just using duct tape and kind of making a homemade mouth mount. So that's something you can check out as well. But for me, I found just this simple clip with some sticky rubber pads that also came with the GoPro when I got it have been extremely helpful. If you want to find out what products these are that I use specifically for my GoPro, I'll include links in the description to where you can buy them on Amazon so that you can check them out for yourself, and also include other options that I personally don't use but might work for you depending on what you want to use them for and what your budget is. So there you have it. That's how you can film POV parkour videos with the GoPro. That's at least how I do it, and after years of experimenting, this is the best way I found to do it, and just over time with practice, you'll be able to make it look really awesome for your videos. So if you found this video useful, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell button so you can stay tuned to all my upcoming tutorials and parkour videos. Once again, thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you next time.